urban farming is very important on a number of levels, and there are things it can do, and there are things it can't do. All right, but one of the things, well, here's a list of some of the things off the top of my head. One thing about urban agriculture, if it's done well, is it's a wonderful respite from the kind of concrete environment, right? So it can double as beautiful, welcoming public open space. It certainly contributes to, whenever you've got plant material and trees growing, to lower temperatures in the immediate area. Obviously, plants and trees give off oxygen, so it helps with air quality. And just that the beauty of it, the ability to have access to nature, to natural environment, is tremendously valuable to people's mental, emotional health. So it beautifies communities. It helps lower the stress that comes from the noise and clutter of urban life. It also produces food, of course, and opportunities for people to engage with the producing of food. Urban agriculture will never produce enough food to feed everybody in an urban environment, just because of the scale of it. But it does create some amount of local connection to local food. The more local the food, the more nutritious it is, because from the moment you harvest something, the moment you cut something off a plant, it begins slowly, but it begins to degrade. I mean, ultimately, it'll just rot if you don't eat it. But so the longer the time is between harvest and consumption, the less nutrient dense the food is. So if it's got to travel to get here, it's still, everybody should eat fresh fruits and vegetables. But if you eat it right off the plant, the flavor is better and the nutrition is greater. So having that opportunity, so connecting urban farmers to local restaurants, that's like the ultimate farm to table, right? If it's in the same neighborhood, it's one thing if it's coming from, Oxnard or Santa Paula, that's pretty close. And so you can get same day farm to table produce that way, but to do it right in the neighborhood is really cool. And with our urban farms, we have a network of over 90 some urban farms across 6 counties, and we often welcome people into the space to help us tend our little farms, and that activity people find that tremendously valuable. And we've developed a horticultural therapy program that really intentionally does that, and we work with folks who are dealing with some kind of trauma, so it's domestic abuse, homelessness, lots of things, and these little farms are just really life-giving in that way. And it turns out, a lot of people talk about who love gardening, talk about how the garden is their happy place, and it turns out when you get out and get your hands in the soil, there's a scientific reason for that. There are soil microbes that, when they enter your system, and that's whether your hands, you got to cut on your hand or you breathe some dust, that actually affect the brain in precisely the same way as Prozac. So it actually is a good place to find your happy place. And there's just so many layers of benefit to urban agriculture, connecting people to farms, even if they're little farms on a vacant lot. I have found that when people make that connection, they realize that there was something undefinable that they felt was missing in their life. They don't know what it is. And we've just gotten so far removed from growing food, from being tactily in touch with that there's some part of our humanity, whatever it is, that gets lost in the shuffle, and it gets reconnected when people come out to the farm, including our little postage stamp level farms. But the farm is somebody asked me one time, what's the difference between a garden and a farm? And sometimes we think of that difference in terms of scale, but it's not really. University of California came up with a definition when they were trying to map urban agriculture in Los Angeles County, and the distinction is simply intent. So if you're growing food for your own consumption, it's a garden. If you're growing food for other people, whether you're selling it or giving it away, it's a farm. So size doesn't matter. It's about the activity. And yeah, just the smattering of urban farms popping up all over Southern California is really an encouraging thing, and it's very welcome in most communities. The most important thing to know about fruits and vegetables is that we should eat a lot of them. The food we eat comes to us already prepared, and there's not a lot. I mean, there might be a leaf of lettuce and a slice of tomato on that burger, but it's not a lot. The thing about fruits and vegetables, they can be expensive, but they don't have to be. And you can grow them yourself if you have the ambition. Even if you don't have space, you can put window boxes, or you can grow it on your roof or in your backyard or wherever you've got it. And that's exceedingly affordable. But more is better when it comes to fresh produce. I know some people are concerned about whether they should buy conventionally grown produce or whether they should buy organically grown produce, and organic is more expensive, but conventional is still very good and very healthy. People are worried about things like pesticide residue or nutrient density, and all the science has shown that there's very little difference in either in terms of those things. So the health benefits from consuming more fruits and vegetables far outweigh any risk of eating those things. And so eat more. If you need food assistance, there's things like SNAP and other things, lots of benefits to help with that. Or if you grow it at home, it's practically free, and we can show you how to do that. And lots of others can too. There's lots of opportunities to learn how to grow your own. So more is the answer. Seeds of Hope can always use help. We can always use volunteers. Everything we do with volunteers, with other nonprofit collaborators, and there's a tremendous amount of opportunity to do that, especially now that we're kind of emerging from all the pandemic shutdowns. It's safer to get out and mingle, and particularly outdoors. So there are opportunities to come and help us on our little farms, doing that kind of work. And there's always opportunities to help us with food distribution, coming out in the community and actually help us hand the food to the people. And it's really cool sometimes if you can get the opportunity to tend the food, to grow it, help us harvest it, and then take it to the people who are actually going to consume it. There's a lovely human connection there. So there's a lot of opportunities to volunteer, and there's a lot of opportunities to help support us financially. We are a nonprofit, and all of it comes from generous donors and contracts that we have with government entities and foundation grants. But we're always looking for that. It costs money to do what we do to provide food for people who couldn't otherwise afford it. So you can volunteer, you can donate, and the best way to do that is to go to our website, which is seedsofhopela.org, and get more information that way.